I know this video is just starting, and I'm already asking you to use your brain, but I want this to set the foundation for what's to come. There's an image up on screen of a man and a woman kissing that more or less looks increasingly unnatural the more you look at it. The man is twisted and contorted in the air, giving his all into a kiss, even closing his eyes, while the woman seems to be off guard with her eyes closed throughout it all. Among other things, there are more objective things that you can point out about the environment. The woman is holding flowers. This seems to be a bedroom, yet there's some plate-like object to the side, and whatever appears to be a knife or a comb is on the dresser, with the coin purse also there on the side. Well, this is already an unnatural scene to behold. More is added along with it, seeing as how there appears to be a break in the woman's heel. She's also not upright, she's falling. Here's where my interpretation starts, however. Is she surprised because she's falling? Is something amiss in the room? And is the man distracting her? Perhaps it's the man that's caught her falling, or even what's making her fall. She could be thinking about him and his kiss while she's going about her daily life and slowly starting to fall for him due to him floating through her mind. The truth is somewhere in the middle of what you interpret and what the artist intends. Regardless of what you infer from the image, the author clearly has some level of interpretation on what they made. It's actually called Birthday by Marc Chagall, and it was made for his now wife before their wedding. You can read all about what the artist has to say about his work in the link in the description below. But regardless of what you think, there's a ton to glean on how you feel about this piece. It can make you feel happy for the experience being conveyed in this display of love. It can even make you feel uncomfortable due to how the man's presence seems far more passionate than the woman's. It can feel isolating and distant as the man's existence seems otherworldly and the woman's appearance seems to be much more grounded. She has things around the room, she's walking. She even has flowers in her hands, making it seem much more like the man isn't even really there, and is perhaps a distant memory of love that has caught her slipping along the way. There's so much to be interpreted from just a simple picture, and that's why the phrase, "a picture is worth 1,000 words" holds true anywhere. What you see is powered heavily by what you bring through your years of experience by simply living. Art is just as much interpretation as it is creation, balancing each other in unique ways from instance to instance. If someone, however, makes something that has never been seen by another person, is it more or less likely to be an objective and stagnant piece? Or is art a still frame of passion from a creative person's mind? Because I don't know about anyone else, but looking back on something I've done feels less like I'm the one who did it the longer it's detached from the time I've made it. It's a still frame of who I was as a person, which makes it an interesting thing to look back on. It really just begs the question of whether or not art can be art without interpretation. If there's no observer, can there be art as we know it? I know, the age-old question, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, did it make a sound? But I think it's a valid question to ask despite its clearly obvious answer. Because there's tons of people who enjoy making some form of art and never show it to anyone. But what differentiates that from someone simply writing notes in a notebook? Well, I'm sure you could call it some form of art. I don't think it would be objectively thought of as such, while the majority would objectively call the Mona Lisa art. We would refer to Mozart as a musical artist as well. But would a monkey mashing keys on a keyboard simply out of curiosity count? These are all observational things that we can see and hear happening. An event that goes from person to person, and the observer often touts whether or not the event is art. There are people who think that the way the human body works, the sky above, or even an angry Australian friend screams of agony are art. But those are all interpretations, something that the observer comes to understand, and thus art is derived from a personal experience. While I don't think that art exists without an observer, I do think that anything can be interpreted as art, and can have a personal connection to something someone is willing to perceive. There's a reason why we all have widely varying tastes when it comes to perceiving art. While I personally don't have a deep connection to the Star Wars franchise, I could easily throw a dart into a crowd and hit someone who thinks that the Star Wars franchise is a masterpiece.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty alright.
See? But we've all got different interpretations of things that generate various forms of creation, be it intentional or not. One of my favorite things about dissecting media is being able to share a piece of myself by bringing out the things that I love. It's not only an opportunity to talk about what I enjoy the most, It's also an open chance for me to share my emotional attachments, the way I see the world, give rhyme to the reason behind misunderstood things, as well as, of course, giving others a chance to potentially like the things that I like. Art is most definitely just as much reflection as it is expression, because what you get out of it shows that the artist had just as much drive to connect as you did to see it. And that's what I think is wonderful about it. Whether it's someone looking back on their past or someone standing face to face with something that opens up an opportunity for a response, art is always you, connecting and expressing. I really appreciate that you're watching to the end. I'd be more than interested to see what you think about art in general if you'd leave a comment below. The idea of sharing my thoughts of the art behind something is something I enjoy doing. Even if I post, geez, my last real video about this was about 3 months ago. Well, if you enjoy the idea of me breaking down my interpretations of what art is in a medium, you're more than welcome to click this playlist above. Either way, I appreciate you nonetheless. You might not be able to see it, but you simply existing is art to others, whether you accept it or not. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.